I want to talk today about Dotcom, the morbidly obese German conman who's been hiding in this country for, nearly 2 decades. His mega upload company basically stole copyrighted material, and he can dance on the head of a pin about it all he wants. Stole copyrighted material and distributed it around the world, and he became very, very rich. So he decided to come down to a country that he could hide in and that would tolerate him being the size of a couple of buses. And he came down here and the FBI pursued him. And I will say this, the raid on the Dotcom mansion was overkill. And local law enforcement authorities allowed American authorities way too much latitude to basically use a hammer with helicopters to crack, or a sledgehammer with helicopters to crack a very, very small walnut. Ever since, with all his ill-gotten gains, Dotcom has been gaming our system. And look, in some ways, he's been a colourful local celebrity. He thought he had bought off John Banks so that when he went to prison, he wasn't going to have to bend over and pick up the soap, but that didn't work out so well for him. He did kind of destroy John Banks' political career. He put on, at some stage, some fireworks, which people liked. He dresses up in Nazi memorabilia. I guess there's no crime against that. And he founded a political party which was particularly nasty. A particularly nasty political party that he did with Hone Harawira. That got nowhere near 5% despite all his money in the election it contested. I can't even remember what one, but he encouraged people to wear masks of John Key and dance around saying F John Key. He goes out with women, girlfriends that he basically buys from the Philippines. All his girlfriends are clearly people who are just there for the money. And he's a thoroughly nasty, unpleasant character. Though his notoriety, I think there are some weak of mind who might think he's interesting in a colourful part of New Zealand. So interesting to note that Paul Goldsmith has issued the extradition order, but he's probably got enough of his ill-gotten gains left in the bank that it'll still be years before we get rid of this big blob of non-playing character from the New Zealand scene. At least he's had the decency. I think he's down in Queenstown now somewhere, driving around in a flash car, being sort of cheap and tasteless. But I imagine Dotcom is going to be with us for a while yet. At least I would say in the last few years, idiot mainstream news media haven't made the sort of celebrity out of him that they had earlier. And really the only thing that could be said about Dotcom, he might have sold a few newspapers. And God, they need all the help they can get, don't they? So I'm saying that's my thoughts on Dotcom. Am I too harsh on him? I can always remember seeing a documentary about him, and I helped expose during that election campaign he was running the party, the fact that a lot of his staff, like his girlfriends, just paid for from the Philippines. A lot of his staff hadn't been paid, and he treated his staff at the Dotcom mansion really badly. And there was a doco, there was some social media clip, oh, it's like we're one big family, except we call him Sir. Yeah. So, Kim, you're welcome to ring in, mate, on 0800 33 2283 if you can actually roll out of bed in the morning and your fat, pudgy fingers can still operate a telephone. Ring in 0800 33 2283. The sooner the guy's gone, the sooner the downward pressure on the tectonic plates in this part of the world are relaxed. Okay, what are you laughing about, Ben? I
don't know. It's just
this country spent years lionising a guy who was a con man and had nicked stuff off creative people. Yeah, I see no reason to be nice to Kim.
I think that was one of the first big New Zealand news stories that entered my consciousness.
Yeah.
That was...
He was a con artist, mate.
Yeah. And he's, the Dotcom mansion and his stupid second name and stuff.
And he was everything bad about modern culture.
He was one of the first people to sort of take advantage of that.
Yeah.
piracy stuff.
Geez, lawyers have done well out of him. I know some lawyers have just made squillions off him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't clearly have the money he used to, because apparently they're a little more reluctant to take his BS cases.